Hello, this is an introduction video to the butterfly tabletop machine. We're going to quickly go over the features of this machine. If you want more details, please see our following videos. Okay, this machine is a combination embroidery machine and sewing machine. This area here, this table detaches. This is the embroidery table here. It detaches and then you can put on a sewing table instead if you want sewing mode. Or you use this table if you want to embroider with this machine. Here is the LCD touchscreen. You push on it and to control the machine. When it is in embroidery mode with the embroidery table, there will be a graphical interface that lets you load embroidery designs, select from a library, or do lettering, and then sew from there. If you take this off and put the other table on, the sewing table, the GUI will change to a sewing mode, and which you can pick which kind of stitches you want the machine to sew. In sewing mode, the pressure foot here will go back and forth depending on which pattern you select out of the sewing menu. Up here is where you load your thread cone to. The thread cone starts here, it goes through here, and down there in sewing and embroidery mode. It can also be set up to wrap around here to fill out bobbins. This dial here sets the tension, the upper tension of the thread. So normally it should be on 4, which is an average tension. If you need the upper thread to be tighter, you would set it to a higher number, which would increase the tension by spinning the dial. And if you want lower, then you'd go underneath 4 for a weaker upper thread tension. This button here moves the needle up or down, and usually during sew mode only. You should not use this button in embroidery mode. And when you put the needle down, it makes it easy to rotate your fabric so you can change direction while you're doing manual sewing. This button here is the manual trim, so he will cut the thread with his internal knife when it's ready to release the fabric from the machine. And this button down here is the reverse button, which is also a sewing mode only button. This will make your sewing pattern go in reverse while you hold it down. That way at the beginning or the end of your sewing you can reinforce it. This here is the start and stop button. You'll push it to start or stop the machine. When it's ready to embroider, it will turn green. Down here is the bobbin area. So the bobbin can eject from here and you can replace the bobbin if needed. If you need to adjust the bobbin tension, you would take the plate off and there's an adjustment for the bobbin thread, which is the lower thread. This thing here is the pressure foot for a embroidery machine. It can be changed out. So when you have the embroidery table, you want to have the embroidery foot here. But if you switch to sewing mode, there's many sewing foots to choose from. So for different sewing tasks, different design for like sewing buttons on, or buttonholes, or zigzags, or all sorts of designs. So on here are ways to eject the sewing feet and then change to different sewing feet. Or you can swap this out for the embroidery pressure foot for when you're embroidering instead. Up in the front here and down here are ways to cut the thread. So you may not be able to see it, but whenever you thread the needle, there's going to be extra thread and you can just cut it here And whenever you put the bobbin in, there'll be extra thread and you will cut it here. Those are convenience items. There's a handle here for carrying the machine. You must detach the tables before moving the machine around by the handle. Back here is a wheel to control the main shaft. The main shaft will go up and down as you turn it. There are many tasks on the machine when you're switching out or changing modes that require you to spin this wheel so the needle is highest. For instance, if you wanted to change out the needle, you wanted it at its highest point. Or when you change out the foot, generally you want it at the highest point as well. Down underneath here are a couple of switches to move the pressure foot to higher or lower heights for when you set up the machine or do maintenance. And generally you want this down to start sewing or embroidery, and you move this lever up if you need to move a hoop underneath it or change out the pressure foot. There is a convenience feature here that helps you thread the needle. So when you pull this down, he will place a small hook through the middle of your needle's eyelet. So if you put your upper thread in front of it, it will grab it and pull it through. Now you can still thread the needle by putting the thread through the eye, but this convenience tool can help. And of course, this cutting implement here can make very sharp cuts, so you don't always have to use the scissors to make sure the tip of your thread is a clean cut. Here's one of the hoops for embroidery mode. This is the small hoop. It would go here. Let me use this lever to lift the pressure foot up, out of the way. And it would attach to the embroidery table like this. And when you're done using it, you detach it and again use the lever to pull the pressure foot out of the way. And there you go. Now let's see, on the other side of the machine are the on-off switch and the USB ports. So the USB port is here, and you would use this to load embroidery designs that have been converted to this machine's format. And okay, I think that's good for a basic summary, and please continue to watch our videos for more detailed information on how to use this machine. Thank you.